welcome back to a breathless Triforce podcast. P-Flax has just climbed up the stairs.
Yeah.
I've got hay fever, and Sips is
overweight and out of shape.
holding his breath for this third child that is inevitable. Feels like you're carrying the weight of 8 months of pregnancy as well.
My god, yeah. Every time I look over at my wife, who's caught up to me in terms of gut size over the past couple of months. And she's always exasperated and stuff. I feel like, you know what?
Flustered,
now you know how it feels to be me all the time. Now you know.
Finally, parity has been achieved.
Yes.
So yeah, welcome back, everyone. I went on holiday this week.
Get
I went
out.
back.
Jeez.
I went out into the countryside.
Wow.
And I spent 2 nights in a shed in a field.
Right.
So it's like
like a yurt.
So this is what happens now.
Was it a yurt?
You know how it used to be?
Glamping.
He's not going to tell you if it's a yurt, apparently.
It's not a yurt.
He's really not interested in.
I'd like to have gone into a yurt, but I think I'd even be even more allergic to those bloody cloth things.
You'd be yurt allergic and allergic.
It was. I went to like a. It looks like an old railway or like an old trailer for like a horse trailer.
Okay.
But on like railway wheels. It looks. I don't know. It just looks like an ancient old thing.
Is it like one of those forgotten places that's just all overgrown? You know, like Forgotten America. Like I'm pretty sure there's a subreddit about it. They got like those towns that have been abandoned.
Yeah.
And they're just all like they look a little bit like Pripyat, I guess. Like they're just all overgrown and people just left them as they were, and nobody's been back since.
They were mainly, I think it was things like mining towns where the stuff that they were mining ran out, or they were digging and they unleashed some hideous force of nature.
Yes,
some creature.
Well, there's always when you uncover an ancient evil, that's normally enough for everybody at the mining town to sort
move
of
on.
move on.
You move on.
I mean, a lot of the movies will have you believe that the town banded together to fight Dracula. They didn't. They just moved on.
They very wisely moved on.
It's like having a rat infestation. You're just like, I can either deal with this, or I could just go pitch up in a new town and start afresh. And most people just want to start fresh.
Exactly.
I could run away from my problems.
And you tend to look at the town they're leaving behind and you think, I'm amazed they lasted this long. Like that it took a demon to dislodge them is admirable.
And most of the time the town is a total shithole that's not even worth defending anyway, right?
That's the town. I'd love that if that was the movie.
Yeah.
If there was like, pitched as like a horror, townspeople band together to combat an ancient evil, and they just the ancient evil reveals itself, kills Steve the Baker.
They have a big council meeting about it,
Steve's
and
dead.
everyone
He's been
unanimously
torn apart.
decides it's not worth it.
What's the plan? I vote we leave. Yep, everyone unanimous carried. Let's go. And they just leave everything there and get on a bus, and they're out of there. End of movie. Credits roll.
All those who say nay, there's no nays. We're out of here. Let's go.
Nay, you should definitely stay. Demons are not allowed to vote. We do not recognize. The chair does not recognize the demon. I move for an amendment to consume you all. No, we will not table that amendment. Strike it from the minutes. Damn you.
Sorry, not today, Mr. Demon. We're just not interested. We've decided to just ignore you and move on. No.
Do you wonder if hell is very bureaucratic? Because everybody hates bureaucracy. If hell was kind of a free-for-all, everybody kind of did what they want, I think that might be kind of liberating for some people. Hell has to be a terrible bureaucracy where everything has to be filled out, and they come to you and say, "Oh, it says here on the work order I meant to disembowel you repeatedly for all eternity, but he hasn't given me the carbon copy that's meant to come with this. I've got to stamp that and give that to my supervisor. Wait here." And you just have to wait for thousands of years while he goes off to some castle to get it signed. Then he comes back. Wouldn't you know it? I've been transferred. I'm sorry. Someone will be with you soon. When they get here, give them this form and these two. You'll need to fill this out. And they hand you like a huge booklet. You're just filling out forms to have your guts ripped out and displayed on a big metal frame.
I think that character is too likable. I think in Hell and the Bureaucracy, everybody you deal with is just Michael Gove. So like there's a million Michael Goves down there doing the Bureaucracy and telling you to wait for the next one and stuff. And the rest of your eternity is just so infuriating because you have to constantly deal with Michael Gove about everything.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or your like annoying busybody neighbor.
Yeah.
I got shouted at this week for like leaving a bin bag outside my door for like 10 minutes.
Wow.
Well,
Couldn't believe
Wait,
it.
do you mean actually shout?
Yeah, like a livid, red-faced fucking Jobsworth guy. Like,
Someone that lived at your building?
yeah, well, I was cleaning the flat. I put the bin out. I was doing all the hoovering and stuff, and I was like, I'll take the bin down when I'm done. And I honestly, like, it had been there less than a quarter of an hour.
Right.
And he was like, just, you can't leave this here. What are you doing? I'm reporting you to the housing, association. I was just like staring at him like,
yeah.
It's only been here for like 10 minlike, I'm about to take it
You
down.
ever wish in situations like that you could just go like Omar on them, like from The Wire, and just like act like you're about to lift your shirt to grab a gun, and then just like scare them away, like, and it would work every time.
And maybe
I would love that.
when Lewis comes home, everyone in the apartment building, Lewis is coming. Lewis
coming.
on the block. Lewis is coming. Everybody's scattering.
He's putting his garbage outside.
Everyone's dropping their garbage outside.
Oh man, and wouldn't that be great though? Like every time that somebody, like it's kind of like like cracking a nut with the sledgehammer or whatever. But I feel like it would just be so effective, and then it would just be like a nice reminder: never fuck with me, bitch. Like don't come at me with your stupid rules and bureaucracies and stuff. I don't give a fuck. That's why I left the bin outside in the first place. I don't give a shit. You're barking up the wrong tree here.
There was a guy who was driving in Bristol during the protests, and he was directed by the police into a bus lane.
Right.
And along with a lot of other people, I'm sure, that bus lane obviously has got a camera in it that takes pictures of people who are not supposed to be driving in the bus lane. So he got sent a 60 quid fine,
right,
and rang him up and said, I was directed into the bus lane by the police. They were like, oh yeah, well, in order to file the dispute, what you're gonna have to do is you have to wait till the complaint is elevated to an unpaid complaint, by which point they'll have doubled the fine.
Yeah,
but don't worry. But it's like, what is this? So sorry, I have to wait. I have to deliberately not pay the fine to get it doubled to then have to make a claim, which then might not be.
It's ridiculous.
Like, give me a break. Like that's hell.
I had to pay a parking fine last week.
Did you?
Yeah, I forgot to pay for parking. I went to town, and I use like an app to pay, because we have like this old ass system of like scratch cards, but I hate using them. So there's an app now that I can use.
Ringo?
It's not called Ringo, no.
Oh.
It's called something else. It's definitely not Ringo though.
Oh.
But anyway, I must have forgotten to pay. And
you've forgotten the name. This is happening.
Well, no, so I forgot to pay. But if you use the app, they don't send you anything. They don't put a ticket on your car or anything like that. So I was completely unaware. And then the first letter they sent me didn't arrive. I never got it. And so they sent me the second like threatening letter saying, well, you could have paid less, but now that you decided not to pay it, you have to pay more. And I was like, what? And this is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah.
But in the end, you just have to pay it, because it's just like, fuck me. It's not even worth calling them up and trying to get out of it or whatever. It's just it's not even worth the time. So I just I just paid it.
Yeah.
But I also sealed one of my logs of shit in the envelope when I sent it back to them. So who gets the last laugh,
Who indeed?
Yeah.
So basically, weirdly, this happened in the week that I also watched Clarkson's Farm on Amazon Prime.
Why'd you watch that?
You'll never get that time back. It's gone.
I kept getting adverts for it, right? And I don't hate Jeremy Clarkson.
I do.
Top Gear was some
I hope
very
his
good
farm
TV.
burns down, and
Amen.
I hope he's
Amen.
stuck in it when it's happening as well.
And so I checked it out. I was playing some World of Warcraft. I was playing some other things. And I was like watching TV in the background. And I just thought, fuck it, I'll watch Clarkson's Farm. See because everyone was talking about it.
Castle Dump. Is that what you called it?
Clarkson's Farm.
It sounded like you said Castle Dump.
I've got a bit of a bunged up nose
Yeah,
because I've got hay fever
I
because
like
I've been
that
to a
name.
farm.
Castle Dump with Jeremy Clarkson. Some people call this a dump, but it's clearly not, because this farm is owned by me. Music, whatever, wank.
It has got a little bit of that.
Willfully ignorant is how I'd describe him. If it's not a car, he's like, I don't know what that is. Oh, what's this? Farming? Load of rubbish. Because I don't know what it is. I'm going to be rude about it. My name's Jeremy Clarkson. Fuck off.
Yes. No, my sentiments exactly.
Wow.
He he is a grade A asshole. He's about as big as they come. Just a gigantic, massive, gaping
some people want
asshole.
to watch that, right? So I mean, that's been part of his allure, right?
No.
Like that's why people like him.
Yes,
I don't.
but what do they like? He's literally
Introduce me to one person who likes them, and I will never speak to that person again. That's how much how strongly I feel about
it. If you've ever looked, like, people often post comments on the Daily Mail website as like there'll be an image of, there'll be the news story, and then these are the comments on the Daily Mail website. He is the personification of that. This doesn't affect me. I don't care about it. Therefore, it's bad, and I want it to stop. That's him in a nutshell. I hate everything that isn't something I'm specifically interested in. This is garbage. I love cars, and that's it. If it's not a car, and I don't know what it is, I'm going to mock it. It's just stupid. It's just awful, and he's hateful. He's a racist fucking fuck off, Clarkson. He's not funny. It's not funny.
Wait, is the
I'm
car?
actually agreeing with all of this.
Is he still doing the car show, or is that now done? Like, because like Top Gear is
the Grand
still going.
Tour?
Yeah.
I think it's still
Him and
going.
his fucking henchmen still roll around occasionally, being
So
dickheads.
I mean, look, that's whatever you say about him and the guys, they are good TV, and they. I mean, the original Top Gear, their big adventures to places were very
Lewis,
a lot of
like
fun.
almost everything we've done, like live in the Yogscast, is inspired directly from Top Gear. Like Lewis loves
for
it.
Sure.
He constantly references it as well. Like every time we're doing a live thing, he's like, "Can we be more like Top Gear? Like I love Top Gear.
Can you be more like James May?
Yes.
Can you be more? That's what I say to you. Yeah. That's.
And then I do it, and you're like, "Can you also dress like him? And can you speak gently directly into my ear and blow in my ear a little bit while you're dressed as James May and pretending to be James May?"
So,
It's a bit weird, but I go along with it.
It's a fetish thing.
Yeah.
So they've had, like, the Grand Tour had a bit of a shaky start on Netflix, because it's sort of on Amazon Prime, because it felt like it was a bit too heavily scripted, right? Originally, Top Gear, it was obviously the scrapes and bumps that they ran into were scripted, but it did still feel authentic. And I think that the Grand Tour had a bit of a shaky start, but apparently is good now. But the other vehicles that they've had, so obviously each of them has tried to make their own show. James May's done a cooking thing, and he's gone to Japan, and he's done other different things. And Richard Hammond did a really awful kind of island survival thing.
Because he's untalented. Tell me what you like about Richard the Hamster Hammond. What do you like about him?
No, I mean he's
what do you like about him?
He would be a bad children's TV presenter. No, I agree. Like, I don't like him.
Look, Lewis is taking the brunt of our hatred of these three people and their shitty show. Like he has to defend them.
I mean, yeah, he'd be a mediocre Blue Peter presenter at best. Richard Hammond. He's not the best.
He did that Total Wipeout. He hosted Total Wipeout. Remember that show?
I tell you, I prefer him to Vernon Kay or that northern guy who presents stuff, or Ant and Dec. I mean, compared to like most daytime or evening or weekend TV hosts, I think that there's a lot more punchable faces out there than poor old Richard Hammond.
Yeah.
Anyway, Clarkson's Farm, it's honestly, like, I didn't think I'd like it, but I really did. It's great TV. It's not all about Clarkson. He's got this host of different people who basically just do the whole farm for him. And they're very self-aware. You can tell some of them are not fans of Clarkson. It's good to see him get electrocuted and stuff. I honestly
that actually does sound good.
Yeah,
it's actually very funny. He's sat there having to do this stuff in misery.
Listen, you're actually selling this. If he's having a shit time and he's unhappy and he's getting electrocuted and stuff, count me
honestly,
in. I mean,
it is.
It
I'm only
great.
happy when he's not on TV, and ideally just never gets work on TV again. That's I don't even want to see him miserable. I just don't want to see him or hear about it.
That's
There's this wonderful guy called Caleb, right, who works on the farm, and he's a tractor driver, and he's like 21, and some of his lines are brilliant. Like some of the things he's obviously a genuine person, who's never left this local area of three villages that he grew up in. He grew up in the world of farming, and a lot of people are really sort of, when they grow up in this thing, they're kind of not trapped necessarily, but they're happy there. I noticed this when I worked on some farms in the summer one time. It felt like it was almost like a different community of people living in the countryside.
What do you mean?
Lewis spent a couple of days with the riffraff in the summer one time. Is what he's trying to say. Yeah.
It was weird though. I've told this before, but it just felt like I'd stepped through a portal into another world. You know, like, I didn't believe that these people still existed because he has lots of these nicely spoken people that he's obviously found on the internet. You know, it's like the head of the farmers' union comes down to teach him how to like fucking do some horrible thing to a sheep or whatever, and some other woman comes in with a sheepdog and does that. Anyway, it's good. It's genuinely good. But this guy Caleb, man, he doesn't take any shit from Clarkson, and it's just he has some great lines, and oh man, I really enjoyed it. So I don't know, it's a weird recommendation. But then obviously I went to this farm, and I guess farming is this thing now.
You went to the Clarkson farm.
I went to a different farm.
Yeah, he was
which
invited.
Felt similar.
VIP guest.
It felt similar because they kind of obviously have everything. You know, they have a bunch of fields where they rotate the sheep between them. You know,
you've got to rotate
eat
your
the
sheep.
grass.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then they've
rotated.
And then they've
spinning
so
sheep.
the government will pay you to sort of keep these grass, you know, keep fields just with grass in. So you use the sheep to cut the grass. It's the whole thing. Then they had chickens there, and they had loads of different crops there. Anyway, one of the fields that they'd obviously, I think the guy who owned the farm, who I didn't meet, but I met his wife, has like this old classic car collection of Morris's, right? So he had like a barn, and it was open, you know, just not even a barn, like it looked like, I don't know, like an animal one of those open animal feeding buildings, you know what I mean?
Right.
A barn.
But he'd converted it to have like 20 old Morrises there in various stages of disrepair. It's like this classic old looking car. Anyway, he obviously collected these, I guess they're like horse trailers or whatever, and he'd converted them into basically little sheds where visitors can stay. It's on Airbnb, and there's lots of these things actually around the country.
Right.
That it's just a little money spinner for them, right? They just put it on Airbnb, and then people come and they have to change the towels every time that people change or whatever. It's not very difficult. It's got a little outside loo and shower area for you to
like an outhouse.
Yeah, for you to wash up and stuff. And
you shit in a hole.
But man, like as soon as I got there, I was just like the hay fever hit me, and I was just like, I guess I've been in the city for the last year and a half, so I'm completely not resistant to any allergens at all.
Man,
you know what? I've never had hay fever, but this year, whenever I've gone outside, I've had a couple of sneezes, a couple of big old sneezes, which isn't unusual because there's fucking pollen everywhere.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, like, I've never had hay fever. Is it just literally you eyes are just like swelling up and just everything's coming out?
I mean, there's various symptoms of it, but I think we've all had it as well, and I normally don't get it either. I think it's just been I think that because May was such a write-off, it was cold and nothing was happening. Like there wasn't very much like pollination happening and stuff. And now that the weather's nicer in June, once. Yeah, everything has just gone nuts at once because I've never noticed this before, but this year, man, like we have some lavender out front of my house, like in a little planter. And every day, I'm not even kidding, there's like 50 bees just swarming it.
Oh yeah, they love
all the time. It's fucking insane. But I've never noticed it before, like to that extent. So I think they're just like concentrating all on like in this now that it's gotten nicer sort of thing. It feels like everything is just going nuts all of a sudden. There hasn't been like a gradual lead up to it. So maybe that's partly to do with it. I don't know. I mean, I don't actually know how hay fever works or. I'm not even really nature minded. I'm just making all this up, is what I'm saying.
That's fine.
Yeah,
that's
I think
fine.
it's. Yeah. I mean, it goes well with the podcast, really. So
yeah,
you know.
I had a nice time. It did do things. There's not much to do.
Good.
It was just
glad to hear it.
You know, there's not much to do. We walked around into the local village. Of course, the farm's out in the middle of fucking nowhere. So as a result, none of the roads to get into the village are, you know, big enough for more than one car, and certainly don't have a pavement. So, you know, there's two of you walking down this fucking road. Suddenly a truck comes down. You're like, fuck me. And so either go into the sting nettles or get like, or
so there was no
choice. You just have to climb into the sting nettles.
You weren't alone on this trip.
No,
I thought you'd gone off
no.
by yourself into the countryside.
It was me, my partner, and another couple.
Right.
Whose their shed was near ours, and they were a little bit more reckless in their nightly activities,
Good
shall we say?
heavens.
It was squeaking like.
Oh my goodness.
Really?
Well, they couldn't really tell. They didn't know when they were in there that it was.
Oh,
Like
you
it was
know,
like
I
rocking.
mean, well, you can hear squeaking.
When the house is a
Well,
rockin', don't come a knocking. That's what they tend to say, right?
When the farmhouse is squeaking, don't go a peeking.
Well, so this other couple obviously don't live together. So for lockdown, they've had fair few moments together, and so this was like the first time they've kind of been able to stay somewhere together, like it's like in a love
have
hotel,
sex
only
in
it's
private, yeah.
a squeaky love carriage,
Right.
Kind of like, I guess it was like Titanic, in the back of that car.
What happened in Titanic in the back of a car?
That's where they made love, old Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. Do you remember? And
Why'd
she's
they
like
fuck
puts
in
her
a car
hand
when
on the
they're on a
steamy
boat?
window.
That's a bit much. It's like 2 vehicles. Just pick a vehicle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there was a car on the boat, and then that's where they decided to do their hanky.
Was the car also on a truck? Was this some kind of challenge? How many vehicles can you fuck inside of at once?
Oh my god, it's like a turducken. That's what it's like.
To fucking.
Man, oh man. Well, it sounds like a fun trip, and especially now that a little bit of sexy time was mentioned as well, even better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a fun trip. Yeah, I'm coming. We'll do another trip as well.
Yeah.
Got on the cards.
Yeah, that's
Come
right.
to Jersey tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
My heavily pregnant wife has not been vaccinated, and Lewis is coming over here to probably infect her. So that's
Well done.
that's nice. Yeah.
That'll be fine. So it'll be fine.
That'll be fine. Let's move on.
I've received an email from your son.
Yes.
Sips.
This was something else, man. I came in after a long day of working, playing video games all day, and there he was on an iPad, and he was like, Dad, I'm sending emails, and I was like, good for you, son. And it turns out he was emailing Lewis to say, how you doing?
So yeah, he sent me an email. It says, can't wait to see you on Friday. I have planned loads of fun things to do while you are here.
Right.
So make sure you save up all your energy and don't do anything else until then.
Yeah.
Love. So
Love.
I replied and
Love.
said, I'll make sure I don't do any moving around or anything until I'm over there. And I'll also eat lots of beans. So I'm full of beans.
Yeah, there
I
you
think
go.
that's how it works.
Well, it's been a while since you've seen the kids, right? Because of lockdown and everything. So you'll notice that A, they're bigger, and B, they like to talk about video games a lot more than they used to. So get ready. Because if you don't understand the mechanics of Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare, or whatever other game he's playing, you're going to know all about him in great detail.
I'm excited.
Yeah, because if he's not playing them, he's talking about
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's thinking about them.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm doing as well. I'm thinking about games right now.
Yeah, me too. I'm playing one right now, actually. I often do when we have this podcast. It's good
What are you
fun.
playing right now? You can't you give us like 5 minutes of your precious time?
No, I was saying this yesterday. I was talking to some people on Discord, and some people were saying like, oh, you know, if I'm on Discord and it's just me and one other person, I don't feel like super comfortable like talking to them. I'd rather talk to a group of people. And I said, well, I'm not like that. Like, I don't mind if it's just one person or 20 people, whatever. Like, I'll talk to whoever's around, sort of thing. Like, you know, it's a close knit Discord, so it's not like there's no people that you don't really know or anything like that, right? So it's fine. But it made me realize that throughout all this, mostly like throughout the pandemic and stuff, a lot of the conversations I've been having with people has been on the computer, like, you know, over Discord or whatever. And even before the pandemic, it was like that too. And I find that I'm always doing something while I'm talking. Like, I'm always playing a game, or I'm watching something, or reading something or whatever. I do it so much more so now that if I go out and I have to speak to somebody face to face, I find it boring because I want something to do
without playing.
Yeah,
a game
no, I
at the
need
same
something to
time.
do while I'm talking to
Right.
somebody. You know, like
Yeah.
even in my house, like we all talk to each other whilst we're doing other things, right? Because, you know, like you got two kids, you're always doing something, right? You're cooking something or cleaning something or whatever. And you're just having a conversation at the same time, and that's fine. But like if you go meet somebody for like a coffee or something, you're just sitting there. All you have is that person and a coffee, right? It's not like you can you just bust out like Peggle or whatever, start playing like. So it's kind of weird.
That's your go-to thing. I could imagine
I
you
played a lot.
You sitting there having a chat with me in a coffee shop and just instantly busting out Peggle.
Yeah.
And now I know that's actually, now you've explained it. I wouldn't be offended. But I think if you hadn't told me, I would have been offended by that. And it's good to understand each other. And take these things into consideration.
Yeah.
I guess it does depend on the complexity level of the game. That's important.
It does. But like having said that, I'm playing Oxygen Not Included, which is kind of a complicated game. And
you've also
it's
played
fine.
that for like hundreds of hours, so you're so familiar with it. It's not probably complicated to you anymore.
It's not. Well, I mean, there's new stuff in it. It's a great game, by the way. It's really fun.
It is a top game. P-Flex has been this whole time probably watching the football.
No, that's at 2.
That's at 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Your Twitter is just a non-stop flow.
That's
who's
literally...
playing? Who's even playing tonight? Who's playing today and tonight?
Let me have a look.
Are you enjoying the Euro tournament?
Very much.
P-Flex?
I love it.
I haven't gotten to watch it much.
I've watched
been busy.
every game.
Oh,
I've
nice.
watched every
I
single
know
game.
you have. I know. It just shows how much fucking free time you have.
Well, thank you.
Jesus.
That is part of it.
You're
for
welcome.
Sure. There is Ukraine versus North Macedonia at 2.
Oh.
Denmark,
Ukraine versus North Macedonia.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was.
that's at
country.
2. Denmark versus Belgium at 5. Netherlands, Austria at 8.
Oh, right.
I don't think there are going to be any great games here. I'll be honest with you. I mean, Ukraine are decent to watch, and they should beat North Macedonia. There should be some goals there. Denmark, Belgium. This is Denmark coming off the back of what happened to Christian Eriksen. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, he had
heard
a
about
cardiac arrest
Yeah,
on
we
the
did.
It was
pitch,
terrible.
yeah.
So I was watching that with my youngest, and we were watching the game. I was like, "You're going to watch some football with me." Why did I make her watch that game of all the games? Because it was genuinely deeply distressing and upsetting. I mean, we were both crying because it was so shocking. I was worried about her. And we're watching this guy being given CPR live on television. It was horrible. At the same time, I couldn't take my eyes away because I thought, please let him be all right. Like, it was so horrible to see. So anyway, they're playing at 5, and they've got to somehow come back from that. I mean, honestly, who cares? No one's going to care about how Denmark do at this tournament because, as long as Christian Eriksen's all right. But it was dreadful. It was absolutely dreadful. And it's been a weird tournament other than that. Last night, for the Wales game, the footage was all over the place because it was in Baku and they had all kinds of problems with the broadcast equipment and the sound kept cutting out. It was terrible.
Wales won though, right?
Yeah, they did.
And Italy won last night too?
Italy won, yeah. So Wales won and they played really, really well. Like, I really want the home nations to do well, and I was really happy to see Wales do well. They were great. Aaron Ramsey was great. They could have scored legit. They could have won 4-0 or 5-0 if they'd had a little bit more composure. But it was such a good game. Italy absolutely trounced Switzerland, and Russia Finland game was fucking awful. Good God, just one of those games you just want it to be over, but you're stuck watching. You're watching it. You're going to see who wins. But my God, it was dull. 2 really pedestrian, boring teams. Switzerland were awful. Turkey looked awful. So this year for the competition, they've expanded it. So there's more teams in it than there would normally be. So some of these teams wouldn't normally have qualified. They've just expanded it.
Yeah, I noticed.
So Switzerland don't need to be there. No offense, Switzerland. You guys suck. Like, you are boring and shit to watch. Finland are boring and shit to watch. Get those teams out. We don't need them. It's not a celebration if half the games are wank.
My kids got the Panini sticker books, and I noticed that the sticker book is huge. Like, there's a lot of
huge.
Extra pages. Yeah. There's a lot of extra teams.
Where is it happening?
All over Europe. So the matches are all, rather than just have them in one place, so everybody congregates there, you've got games in like Baku, Bucharest, Budapest, Copenhagen, London, Rome, like all over the place.
Really?
Yeah. So some teams, your games like England, our games are at home in the group stage. If we make it out of the group stage, oddly enough, our next match is in Rome, and Italy's next match is in London. So there will be some travel involved, but yeah, it's I don't know. I guess they've done it that way because of COVID, but it's also some of the groups are like, it's possible to qualify from the group if you came third. So there's still going to be a shitload of teams in the next stage. So I don't know quite why they've done it that way, but they have. So
Are they just is everyone just these teams just flying all over the fucking place?
Yeah.
To play these games.
They are, yeah.
I mean, I assume they'd be flying like on just the team on a plane sort of thing. Because sometimes, like, I've been on a plane and you'll see a team of athletes flying out somewhere. I know Mrs. F flew when she flew she was in Ethiopia for work. When she flew back to London, half the plane was very skinny guys that looked like they were all wearing like athletic gear. So yeah, they were coming to London for the marathon. So yeah, I mean, sometimes they do fly just regular plane, but I think for this, I would assume that they're like charter a plane or something like that. I would assume.
Yeah.
You've watched all the games. But there's like, isn't there like 6 groups?
There's like three games per day,
teams?
right?
There's 3 games a day.
There's one at 2, one at 5, and one at 8.
There are 6 groups, so there are a lot of games. Yeah, 3 games. So I literally come down.
You've
to
watched
2.
like 30 games.
No, there haven't been that many games yet. There have been, hold on, 2, 4,
It
6,
slows
8,
down once
9,
the group stage is done,
14,
though.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, I've watched quite a few games.
Okay, yeah.
Well, fair enough, man. If you're into it, I mean,
I
like,
love it. Yeah.
you know, it's good to have something to get stuck into, right? It's not like it's going on forever. It's it's a couple of
Yeah,
weeks. and
I've
stuff.
watched 24 games so far. I think that's how many.
So
I
it was
must have watched,
supposed to
something
happen last year, but it didn't,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that's happening. So this does. Do you think it's been like? Do you think it's been okay? Like, and like, do you think it bodes well for the Olympics happening in
It's been
Tokyo
great
and stuff?
Like it's been great. There are fans in the stadiums. For the game in Budapest, it was like 60,000 in there. It was packed.
Jeez.
Because Viktor Orban, I think his name is, the president of Budapest of Hungary.
Yeah.
He's kind of a piece of shit. He was just like, "Fuck COVID, we're just going with whatever."
Yeah, we're watching some football.
Yeah, so they just jammed him in there.
Yeah.
He's a bit of an oddball to say the least, and he's kind of a piece of shit. But in fact, I think he is a piece of shit. But it was honestly hype to have a crowd again and people booing and whistling and cheering and everything. It was great. Football isn't football when there's no crowd. It just isn't. I don't think any sport is. Because
Yeah,
you're
the
watching it and you're
atmosphere
thinking,
is lacking.
yeah, you're just thinking, what is this
stadium's
for?
empty.
Like if there's nobody there, you're thinking, why should I care? There's like
Yeah.
the players don't even look like they care, and they're just jogging about, and you think, what is this? Like sport without a crowd. It's sort of like, is this that important that we have to have it even if nobody's watching? It's kind of stupid. I mean, at least we got TV footage, but it's just, I don't know, it sucks all the life and soul out of it.
Did you guys see the Cristiano Ronaldo Coca-Cola snub?
I did.
I did see that.
So he had,
see that.
So Coca-Cola is one of the sponsors, of course. Ronaldo sits down for his press conference after the Portugal game, and there's 2 bottles of Coke in front of him and a bottle of water. And he picks up the bottles of Coke and he goes, "Coca-Cola," and shakes his head and slides them out of shot. And then he picks up the bottle of water and goes, "Agua," and then carries on. That was
I
it.
know. It was pretty good.
funny.
It
Yeah.
was pretty funny, but apparently their share
Wiped
price dropped
2%
like
off the share
2% for when he did it.
Jesus Christ, get me Ronaldo's agent on the phone.
Oh,
It's
my
like,
God.
how is that 2%? It's like £4 billion. I mean, it'll recover. It's just
Oh
a
my
blip,
God.
but it's still fucking hilarious to think that
It is really
Ronaldo
funny, yeah.
moving some bottles of Coke can wipe $4 billion off your share price. We should all do that. Everybody should just get bottles of Coke and slide them out of view and go, ugh, and hold up a bottle of water. We'll kill this company.
Oh my
Agua.
god, that would be a real titan. Coke is one of those things that you're always told that Warren Buffett invests in because it's one of those things that people are just always going to need for hundreds of years. It's not going anywhere. It's been going for 100 years and it's so massive it's just going to keep going for 100 more. Like Heinz
It's crazy.
beans and others, Heinz tomato ketchup, stuff like that. Stuff that's so kind of.
I should invest in
conventional.
ketchup and beans, honestly. I consume so many of them, it's insane. Like,
I know.
God, it's staggering.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just-
like they're always going to be there. People are going to always want to season their food
Yeah.
with the thing that they've seasoned their food with for their whole life.
Yeah.
It is weird how some brands, like Coca-Cola is just a sugary drink, but there is nothing that tastes exactly like Coca-Cola. And whatever they put
Yeah.
in it is genuinely a unique flavor, and other things come close, but the difference between Diet Coke and regular Coke is still there, like an ice cold can of Coke. Just imagine it now, wherever you are, if you're hot and someone offers you an ice cold can of Coke.
It's got like the dew.
Yeah,
like,
it's got
build
the
up
dew
on the outside of the can and stuff.
Maybe
yeah.
pour it into a glass with ice.
Same thing as McDonald's with the consistency. It's all about the consistency, right? It's got their skill is that they manufacture this thing in hundreds of plants across the world, but it all tastes the same.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to. And it's interesting. I read about the Twinkies, right? So they obviously went bankrupt a few years back because
Hostess went bankrupt?
Yeah, like the whole
there's no
owner
way
of,
Hostess did.
No, it did.
They're
the whole
huge.
thing collapsed for a couple
It
of
was
years.
formerly
and
distributed by Hostess Brands.
Yes, it was. And originally they had some supply line issues. They just sort of didn't. They were making a lot of losses somehow. I don't know why. It was all just terribly out of date.
Hostess went
modernised any of
bust
their
in
factories.
2012, Sips.
What?
Nearly a decade ago.
Oh my god!
But-
Hostess potato chips. That's like a big staple of my childhood. I ate a lot of Hostess potato chips. You know.
So what happened was there was this mania where people were buying up all the boxes because it was going out of business. They were selling for like £100 for a box of them on eBay. It was out of control.
Oh my god!
Because they're so ingrained in American culture, these cakes.
Twinkies,
and
yeah.
So what happened was they ended up like selling just the rights for the name Twinkies to another company that then relaunched Hostess Brands and relaunched Twinkies. And now you can buy chocolate ones and all sorts of different ones again. I mean, they're terrible for you. They're just sugary. They're massively out of date. But they're so iconic as a brand in people's minds. Like even we, as Brits, understand jokes about Twinkies and sort of know what they are.
Yeah.
Which is kind of amazing, really. The power of the American media, and it's only from watching TV and stuff. It's not like we buy them. We all can buy them in shops. It's only from the Fonz joking about them or whatever. Oh, that's a big Twinkie.
Probably movies more than anything,
Yeah,
right?
Ghostbusters. Try to imagine a Twinkie approximately 35 feet long, weighing over 400 pounds.
The cop in Die Hard is eating a Twinkie in his car, right? When the call comes through for Nakatomi Plaza and all that. Like there's stuff like that.
I used to love them when I was a kid because it's just fucking sugar. Like
we never got them. Like we had them occasionally, but it wasn't like
No, it wasn't a regular
in Canada, we had Joe Louis though, right? They're like big wagon wheels. Joe Louis. That was like the Canadian state. Pepsi's and Joe Louis. That was the.
I got
the
Cadbury's mini rolls. That's what my dad would always give us.
Right.
In our lunchbox, a Cadbury mini roll.
So here's a question: When you had a packed lunch, did your mum or dad? Who made your packed? My mum made mine, and
my mom made the sandwich, and then I could just like grab other stuff to like bulk out the rest of the lunch.
You could tell.
She always made my lunch for some reason.
Yeah,
for
you could
the
tell
whole
who
time.
made the sandwich because my dad would make like a Marmite one, and I don't like Marmite.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It'd be like, oh yeah, I've got something weird here which I don't like. My dad must have made it.
That's like when Homer makes Bart's packed
Man,
lunch.
there were no rules at my kids' school now. It's like you can't have anything with nuts in it. You can't have anything with sugar in it. Like there's so many rules. But when I went to school, there was no rules.
Oh, no rules.
People brought Pepsis and like fucking chocolate bars and like big bags of like potato chips and stuff for lunch. Like no problem. Like nobody even bat an eyelid.
Right? What I want to know is that I'm at my kid's school, at the primary school. There's no peanuts, no chocolate. There's a couple of other things. When did the peanut thing become such a big deal that you can't take peanuts into school?
It's just it's allergies, right? Like kids,
right? But I could definitely take peanuts
breaking
into
out in
school.
hives and stuff. Yeah,
Like it can't be that it's a new thing unless everybody's suddenly allergic to peanuts.
No. Well, I think there has been an uptick in people who are allergic to peanuts, and I think it's something to do with like diet during pregnancy or I might be wrong about that. Like I just remember hearing something about it, how there was this like phenomena recently that people are generally more allergic to certain things than they used to be for whatever reason.
Interesting.
But I think back then as well, there was just like a lot less awareness about it, right? It was kind of like...
I think back in the day, the kids who were allergic to peanuts were eating their lunch in the nurse's office.
Yeah.
Whereas now they're allowed to sit with the other kids and we're trading sandwiches. They're just fucking messing around.
Yeah.
I think that back in the day, the sickly kids with the peanut allergies had probably already been bumped off by various
They've been
other
expelled.
things.
This was the 80s and 90s.
They'd like drowned in the pool or something.
And 90s, not the
Everyone
80s,
remembers
80s
that
and 90s.
sick kid. I was the sick kid most of the time.
Everybody in my school's name was Chad and Brad, and if you had a nut allergy, you were getting a wedgie for sure. Like, there's no way. Like that, your nut allergy was not the worst of your problems. Like, you were getting rolled for your Chicago Bulls jacket that your grandma bought you, and also your lunch money and everything else too. It's just, it's the 80s. I mean, it's not my fault. Just that's
so
how.
Apparently they're saying
that
in infants with a family history of peanut allergy, consuming peanut proteins at 4 to 11 months has been shown to reduce the risk of developing an allergic response by 11 to 25%.
Right.
So the American Academy of Pediatrics rescinded their recommendation to delay exposure to peanuts in children, also stating there's no reason to avoid them during pregnancy or breastfeeding. And they're saying that during pregnancy, they're not sure. They don't know whether peanut exposure or not is a good thing or whatever. So It's weird to me that we're not sure why there's peanut allergies. I mean, presumably it's increased. I mean, I understand asthma increases because of like air quality has gone down in the last few years. Whereas peanut allergies, what have we suddenly got bad peanuts? Did something happen to the peanuts?
No,
What happened to the
I
peanuts?
think air quality actually has been going up. Like, this is one of those things. Like, it's weird. Like, it is one of those things where you're supposed to let your kids eat dirt or something when they're young. So everything's so clean and stuff, and everyone's wiping everyone down with fucking Dettol. Do you know what I mean?
Especially nowadays, right? But I mean, there's a
I don't
pandemic.
know. We're not experts on why this or whether it's even increased at all. But I think it feels like it has, or at least maybe there's just awareness of it now. Because I was that kid back then, that would have died if I'd eaten a peanut. So
yeah,
it's I was obviously very careful because my mum sort of told me to be careful. I had to wear one of those medical alert bracelets, that if I was having an attack, people would be able to look at it and say, "Oh, it says on the back of this."
Did you have like the full like
bubble boy,
like spine, like the back brace, and like you had like the braces like with the big like Willy Wonka had, with like all like the instrumentation to straighten out your teeth and everything? Did you have all that too?
Yeah, I did. I had a
briefcase,
an outside the mouth
propeller
brace
cap.
All right,
thing.
so it's actually gone down from 1992. The UK annual mean concentration of PM, which is bad, has gone from 35% in 1992 down to 15% in 2020.
Right.
So it is going down. But obviously the kids that were in the middle there still got asthma, right? And then when it gets lower, it'll get better. But
I think that definitely there's a correlation between pollution and asthma. But some countries with high pollution have almost no asthma. So it must have some genetic component or another component.
I mean, I've definitely met new parents like with their precious firstborn or PFBs who, before the kid sits down anywhere, they're wiping surfaces down. And I'm thinking, come on, like your kid's got to get some grime on him at some point.
Get him in a mud bath.
There's grime, and then there's just like some of these places you go to.
Yeah, I mean,
like
but
the
at the same
table
time,
and the chair is sticky, and you just think,
right.
All right,
But at the same time,
Get it
they're fucking disgusting anyway. Like you send them to a play group, of course. Kids will happily touch the bottom of their shoe and then put their hand in their mouth 2 seconds later without thinking about it.
There's no avoiding that.
So I don't think there's any point wiping. I mean, if you're putting them somewhere disgusting, if you're taking them on a trip down to a shanty town and there's needles everywhere, fair enough. Let's be careful here. But I'm just saying, you go to McDonald's,
so,
you don't need to fucking wipe everything down.
Let me pitch this to you, right? You're making a sausage on a barbecue, okay?
I'm picturing it. I can see the sausage.
The sausage is cooked, and it's a slippery sausage. You go to put it in your bun, it slips out of your hands onto the floor.
Bin.
Okay, now let's say the floor is just a field, like a nice a farm field of grass where I was at the weekend, right?
Right.
Is that okay?
Well, so you're dropping it on the grass?
Yeah, I'm dropping it on grass.
I might think twice about it. I'd probably eat that.
So yeah, I this has actually happened to me.
I wouldn't
this
eat
weekend.
do you know what? Funnily enough, I would not eat something that fell onto grass and got covered in dust and grass and stuff. I would.
Well, if it's covered in dirt, I would consider the grass to be in all likelihood cleaner than my garden where the dog does her business. Like I would.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I would think the grass is probably good, and the chance of an animal peeing exactly where I've dropped my sausage is unlikely. I don't know why drop my sausage sounds funny.
And then okay, so you would eat that?
Yeah, I probably would.
Farm-grass
I
sausage
probably
full.
would. Yeah.
See what I mean? And then what about like the next stage up though? Like the local park, maybe like a nice big local park or a bit of green space.
Green space
in town.
near me.
Yeah, maybe in
then
Queen
no.
Square. You're in Queen
No.
Square. You've got a barbecue going.
No.
Your sausage just drops off the side of the disposable barbecue. You pop it back on.
Too much footfall.
Imagine you're cooking sausages and you're not necessarily going to eat them, but you drop one and you put it back on the barbecue.
Oh, that's even worse.
Is anyone going to notice?
I am never
Would you
doing
do that.
I'm never doing that.
If it falls on
Really?
the floor, it goes in the garbage. That's for me. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Floor
pick
food
stuff.
is
I
not
won't eat it.
food anymore.
I've watched people do this
Of course.
regularly. People do this.
What
and
I
they're
want to know
fine
is
with it.
who invented this 5-second rule? Who invented it? Where did it come from? Because they need to pay.
They're
for their
long
crimes.
dead now because they got some weird disease from eating crap off the floor.
Exactly. I mean, what do you think the germs have to notice the sausage?
Yeah.
And then go, a sausage! And then call it, oh, get on it quickly! Oh no, it's lifting up! Ah!
Oh no, we need more than 5 seconds to properly latch onto it.
So stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
I make a judgment call about what it's fallen on. So, for
if
example,
I drop a Smartie onto my carpet in my lounge, I'll eat that though. Like something.
that's sticky though. They're pretty sticky.
No, not like I'm not like holding them in my hand and letting them melt.
Oh,
Like right out of the box. Like a fresh dry Smartie out of the box, or an M&M or whatever. If it's like candy coated and it falls on my carpet,
You'll eat that.
I'll scoop it up and eat it pretty fast. Yeah.
Okay.
So what if you have a chance? Because I've done this before where I'm going to cook dinner and a sausage falls on the kitchen floor.
Yeah.
I
Anything
will wash
like that.
the sausage. I'll wash it, and then I figure it's going into searing hot oil.
Yeah,
so
it's
that
probably
should kill
not bad.
anything,
It's probably okay. It's
anything
just,
I'm going to boil as well. If I drop it, I'll give it a wash, and then I'm going to boil it. That'll
I
kill
think
whatever's on
technically
it.
it's fine, but like I don't know. I've got like a mental block about stuff like a piece of ham. Like you take a piece of ham out of a packet and it's like all wet and stuff.
Oh man.
You drop that somewhere, like it's just gonna get stuff stuck to it,
Yeah,
and
that's
then it
going in
just
the bin.
That's like a
Yeah.
cleaning rag.
Exactly.
I feel the same about sausages. Any meat, really. Like meat, if it touches the floor, I'm just done. Like it's.
If I
Okay,
can
how about
wash it
this?
and cook
How
it.
about this?
Yeah.
One of those dry vegan sausages that is basically just like a tube of toilet roll.
Right.
That's going
You've
in the bin regardless, mate.
yeah.
don't even put it on the barbecue. Just straight in the bin.
Anything that is meat or even closely resembling meat, if it's been on the floor, my brain just like will not process it. It's just
fucking
it's
hell.
dead to me.
Oh, so no, I mean, if it's a drier thing and not a sticky thing, like,
Yeah.
what is, could you like imagine you've got the gravel? Could you drop a sausage on the gravel?
Oh,
and
gravel's
it's
annoying. You get all
What
little bits
about
of
what
grit
about
on there.
a perfectly curved and perfectly shaped potato chip? If you drop that on your carpet, I'd eat that as well. Because it's like barely any of it is even touching the carpet, right? So,
I know, but there'll all be little carpet fibers and there's little mites and things in there. I guess they're
yeah,
probably
but
not harmful.
a lot of that shit you're ingesting without even realizing anyway.
Yeah.
I think the older I've gotten as well, the more tolerant I am to stuff. It needs to be the other. Actually, I
Which
guess
is
when I was a
ironic.
kid, I ate anything, and then when I was a teenager, I ate nothing, and now I eat anything again. I'll eat a fucking thing I'll just dust off any old crap and wipe it down. Go for it. I've got stomach acid in there that's going to deal with
That'll
it.
kill it. My body's got acid. The acid will kill
I've
it.
watched people on telly eat all sorts of dumb
I'm just
shit,
not.
and they're
I
fine.
don't think, from my point of view, I'm worried about actually getting sick from eating something off of the ground. I just find it kind of off-putting. You know what I mean? Like it feels like the thing that's fallen on the ground is just tainted now, and I just don't want to eat it.
Right.
It like puts me off of the
Yeah.
thing. I lose my
I
appetite
see.
suddenly when something's touched the ground.
Well, here's one
know?
for you. This didn't need to touch the ground. And I was at a park and there was an ice cream truck there and we all got lollies for the kids and we got them for the grown-ups as well. And I had a cider lolly,
Oh,
which I
nice.
hadn't had in ages. Do you remember the cider lolly?
No, I don't.
I saw it and I was so it's like a regular lolly. There'll be like raspberry and lemon and whatever. apple, and then there's cider, and it's
Cider
brown
flavour?
like cider. Yeah, it's a cider lolly.
Is it got any alcohol? Can't have alcohol in
Well,
it,
that was
can
the
it?
thing when we were kids. We're like, they can't sell you the cider lolly if you're a kid because it's got alcohol in. So when you
Right.
buy it, and the guy, of course, sells it to you because it's just a fucking lolly, you're like, he sold us a cider lolly. We're gonna get so pissed. And you'd eat this cider lolly. So when I ordered it, she sort of gave me this look like, the cider lolly, really? And she's sort of fumbling around back there for ages, produces this cider lolly, and sort of hands it to me suspiciously. When I unwrapped it, this thing looked like someone had trodden on it, frozen it again, trodden on it, frozen it again. It was like all the water was leaking out in crystals. It was just a really weird shape. It was kind of discolored. And I was like, I can't remember if this is what they're meant to look like. Maybe it's because there's cider in it. It's like, this is what they look like. So I got
I
halfway
thought she was
going to
ask you for ID when you bought it.
I got halfway through this lolly and I started feeling like, oh dear,
Oh
like
no!
that.
Just spraying shit everywhere.
I was all right. I managed to ride it out, but I was like,
You started getting paranoid about it, and
I
that
ate a
made you
bad
feel
lolly.
sick.
The cider lolly.
Fuck,
Oh man, that's
good.
hilarious.
I love that she wasn't sure about.
No, she
that
really
she
was
even
not.
had it on the. I love it when you order something from one of these places and they have to lean out of the van to look at the menu, and as if it's like, well, we sell
Yeah,
that.
you made the menu and you probably ordered the stock as well. Like,
It's
Well,
like,
judging
you'd
by
think-
the quality of this cider lolly, not for 10 years, I'd say. Is that still on there? She puts an X on it and then hands me the last one. I'm like, phew,
I had a Fab recently, and
that's a good lolly.
yeah, they are good. They got like the hard chocolate inside. Oh man, it was actually on Sunday. We watched the England match, and which I missed half of. I was on my way in to watch it. And I was just I was taking some washing off the line in my backyard because we do that, and it was really hot, so everything dried off immediately. It was awesome. Anyway, I'm doing that, and I'm on my way in, and everybody's getting ready to watch the match, and I was like, oh great, we're gonna sit down and just like watch football all afternoon. It's gonna be fantastic. And then I just heard this massive bang like from the road just outside my house. And it sounded like somebody had lost something off the roof of their car. Like it sounded like something fell off the roof of their car and then just smashed on the pavement, like just outside my house. So my first instinct was like, "Fuck's sake! Like who the fuck is doing this like on a Sunday?" Like, so I went around to look.
They're rushing to get back for the England match.
Yeah. So I went around the corner to look, and man, there's just this girl wearing like full like biker stuff just on the ground, like on my driveway.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she just like come off of her moped or bike or whatever. Like it was like a motorcycle sort of like driving school thing that they do like on a Sunday. All of the like her instructor was there, and like a bunch of people had stopped. There's like this big convoy of like stopped motorcycles. Yeah, she just like lost
Was she
control of
okay?
her bike. Well, I had to phone the ambulance. Like the ambulance came, the police came, everything, and I think she fell off and like smashed her knee on like the corner of the wall, which is like.
Oh.
I think I'm assuming she's all right. Like I mean, the ambulance guys like stood her up and asked her to like put pressure on her leg and stuff like that.
Run it off. Just run it off.
But then
Her
they
knees
took her
all
away in the
shattered.
ambulance, and she was really upset because like she was like
that's
16 years old.
Oh,
yeah, so it was pretty bad. It was pretty rough. So it was
Poor
exciting.
girl.
And then I had to do that like that dad thing, like
Did
I
you
felt
offer a cider lolly?
no, I did not. But because I called the ambulance and this was happening like on my driveway, I had to just like stand out there with my arms crossed, like like a dad would do, sort of thing. I felt somehow involved. Every once in a while, somebody be like, "Is this your place? Is this your house? Did you see anything happen?" I'm just like, "No." and then in the end, it was like really really hot, and I just said to the police like, "Do I need to be out here?" And he's like, "Oh no, you're fine." I was like, "All right, peace. See you later." I just went in, but it was pretty crazy. I hope she's okay too, but I'm assuming she is. Like I think it was just like a nasty biff, but I don't think it was anything serious. But luckily she was she had like all like she was wearing jeans and she had like a leather jacket and all like the, you know what I mean? It was a hot day. Like when the ambulance guys turned up, they were like, "Oh man, we were worried that, when we heard that somebody had an accident on a bike, that it would be like, shorts and flip-flops sort of thing because of the weather." And the driving instructor's like, no, like, we wouldn't let them out.
God, that is honestly when I see people ride, you don't see it as much now in the UK. And whenever I go to Florida, there's people riding around on motorcycles, no helmet, shorts, no t-shirt,
it's wild,
flip-flops, and you think if you come off that thing, like I think that there's like at 40 or 50 miles an hour, you lose like an inch of skin and bone for every second that you're in contact with the asphalt traveling at that speed. Like,
Oh my god!
wiped away.
Yikes!
It's so.
I mean, I've come
bad.
off my bike a couple of times, and I think and it's been very painful, and I've hurt myself every time, and that's going pretty slow.
Yeah.
So I mean, God, I think the other thing is you lose perspective, right, when you're driving or on a motorbike. It feels like you're playing a game. You don't treat it like you should very quickly, because it feels so, I don't know, like an otherworldly experience almost.
This is why, when people get in any kind of contretemps in their car, they lose their shit.
Yeah.
Like, people respond in a way that they never would normally, because there's something happens to your brain when you're in your car where it's like an impenetrable bubble is how you've built it up in your head. Because I think, how else can we cope mentally with the idea of driving on a motorway? Like, you're all driving at like 70, 80 miles an hour in these little metal boxes, and you're just hoping the guy in front of you doesn't just suddenly wang the wheel to the right and like cause a huge pileup, or that a fucking tree doesn't just land. Like, you're just trusting that this is fine.
Yeah.
So I think when it's suddenly not fine, people freak the fuck out, and they do not know how to handle it. What are you fucking pulling up? Like, people losing their shit. It's crazy.
I don't have like any road rage or anything like that. Like, I'm a pretty like comfortable, like confident driver or whatever. And like I wouldn't like get mad enough to like honk my horn at anyone or anything like that. But if you're in a car with your whole family and you get stuck down a farm lane and you're trying to reverse and everybody's like trying to like talk to you at the same time and stuff, that is rage inducing. Like, I've had times where I just have to like blank them. I can't even answer them because I'm so furious about the whole situation, like
people not recognize, read the room, or in this case, the car. I'm trying to fucking concentrate. Like, for me, it's in really heavy traffic on the motorway, and there's yapping and arguing going on. Beep, 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 beep. I'm like ready to flip, because I just let me concentrate on this shitty situation.
Yeah.
Get us through it.
I'm just trying to reverse the car here. Like, I'll, happily talk to you after this kind of tricky maneuver is done. But you know what I mean? They don't do that to pilot. You don't have them up in the cockpit, like, you're trying to land the Transat flight in the middle of the ocean or whatever. They're not in there saying like, "Oh, did you hear about Debbie's diaper mishap?" or what? You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, like, I know it's not the same, like trying to reverse out of a farm lane, but at the time it's so stressful. It feels like it could be, you can definitely trick yourself into thinking that it's.
Oh, I just remembered something. There is a show. This is a complete change of subject. There's a show on the BBC iPlayer at the moment called Time. It's got Sean Bean in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Stephen Graham.
We were going to watch that, yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Now, it looks really good.
There is a jugging scene.
Oh, nice. Well, I mean, not like
someone gets jugged.
Yeah, but it's with a kettle of boiling water.
Holy
and
crap.
To make it even worse, this was a level of jugging I had hitherto was not aware of. They put sugar in the kettle, so the sugar melts and it gets all sticky, and then they jug you. It's grisly.
Oh man,
grisly.
Okay, yeah,
but it's a really good show.
We're holding out
really
watching that because we were just watching like some other stuff or whatever. But
right,
that sounds great.
I was like, oh, it's a jugging is happening. Like, I was amazed. I thought it was just
like
bollocks.
so pleased that somebody got jugged.
Yeah,
finally.
but there it happened. It actually happened.
Man, oh man, holy crap. Well, there you go.
He's been married 5 times, Sean Bean.
Really?
Now, ironically, have all his wives died, and he's outlived them.
How many were from Gondor originally before he moved away?
I do. Till death do us part.
That's enough. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you tomorrow. Sis.
Oh shit, yeah. I mean, we're gonna have a nice long weekend. We got so much planned. The weather's gonna be fucking awful.
You're gonna hear about it all on the Triforce podcast next
Hell
week.
Yeah,
you could check us out every Wednesday on Spotify. You can follow us on there. That's good. And we might be changing over to a new ad server, so you can always get ad-free episodes on our Patreon. You can just Google it, Triforce Podcast, and if that floats your boat. Otherwise, there might be some random ads popping up. I don't know. All right, thanks everybody.
Bye.
See you next time. Goodbye.